So today we're going to be talking about if I only had $100 a month farm. I'm going to share how I created this program, why I created this program in a minute.
Sure. Do you mind just standing like where that camera on top of the TV? That's the camera, so that they can see you.
All right. I'll just share who am I in a second. We'll share why I'm sharing with you guys. What could you get for $100? How to get started, and what I would do next. So you guys are here, give everybody distractions. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. If you guys are on the Zoom, ask the questions as well. We'll usually answer the questions at the end. If there's something pressing, jump on the mic and ask some questions, and we'll go through the questions at the end. If you have not, please, you can download a copy of the workbook. You can download it, the link, or you can scan the link there as well for the QR code. I'm going to share it again in a few minutes if you want to grab it. So I'll give you a second to grab that now if you want. You guys can work through this. You can go after, watch the replay and go through this and use it as well. You guys good? All right, perfect. Let's go. So can I get you guys' commitment to participate today?
Yes.
You here today? Yes. You guys can participate and ask you some questions. Is she engaging? Yes. Good. Everybody?
Let's rock and roll.
All right. Good. So who are you guys? Where are you guys from? How long have you been in the business? And your name?
I'm Helene. I've been in the business for about 2.5 years. What was it?
Where in the city, in Toronto?
Oh,
What
I live in Brampton,
Okay.
and I do all over GTA. I've done deals in Hamilton, done deals in Pickering, so I'm all over the place.
Hopefully we'll change that today. The farm to be local. Yourself?
I'm Maria. I'm from Really Page Signature.
Okay.
And I have been in this field for 5 years. And I started with a team, now I'm solo.
Great. And anyone online, if you want to drop in the chat where you're from and how long you're in the business, you can share that. I'm going to share who am I and why I'm here. So if you don't know, I'm Ryan Smith. I am the creator of Blanca Farm Programs. I'm the founder and head coach. I host the Launch Farm podcast. Always been on the show. We've shared a bunch of great stuff together over the last few years. The podcast is on hold. I'm relaunching that later this year, but there's 115 episodes on that. I've interviewed agents all over North America on how to farm, great strategies, things you can use. I'm a speaker, trainer, and coach. I have been in the business for 16 years, so I am licensed. I've been doing this. I'm in the trenches. My partner, we live in Niagara. She does the day-to-day of real estate now, so I focus strictly on the coaching and the training side of things. And I've moved 4 times in my career, and I share that because I literally had to relearn the business 4 different times because I got started in the business. I was brand new. I moved 3.5 hours. I went to Fort Lakes, and I knew my aunt and uncle. And that was the only people I knew. Didn't have a sphere, didn't have a database, didn't have connections. Had to learn the business. I moved again. I moved for love. Moved down to Durham region. Didn't know anyone other than the girl I was dating. And I had to start my business all over again. Was there for a few years, and then moved back to Burlington and to be closer to my family. My mom got sick. I had to start all over again. I didn't really have any connections there. And then 3 years ago, we moved down back to Niagara to be in where I grew up. And I share this because the strategies I'm going to share with you today are things I've learned and had to apply to my business. And I want to learn how to quickly grow business. I want to learn how to get out of my own way and how to grow business quickly and not just do traditional things. So I'm going to share how we can do that with this plan. And it's really helped me reshape business and not just rely on traditional type business, traditional type methods. I was a past productivity coach. I'm with Keller Williams. So I was coach at our office for a number of years. And I ran a successful farm with my business partner. We did that. I started in Burlington. I had no contacts there, never sold anything in the neighborhood that we farmed. I'm going to share some of the techniques that we used. And basically, we started in September. Our first deal we got in January. In the next 15 months, we ended up getting 17 transactions in that over 15 months with no experience in that area. And we relied on some of the modern techniques we're going to share with you today. I ended up selling that part of the business off to my partner, and I started focusing on the coaching and training. Come on in.
Hey, how's it going?
So that's me. That's a bit of why I'm here and what I'm going to share with you guys. I'm going to share why I started this specific session. And I think it's important to understand where this came from so you can understand why I'm doing it. So a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, someone had posted in a Facebook group. And they'd said, if I only had $100 a month spend, what would you do with it? What would you do with it? And the responses were quite scary and quite sad. People were commenting in there, you should quit the business, you're stupid, go blow it on booze, give me the money, don't waste your time, get out of the business. People were very negative, not very nice to the people, to the person that shared it. And the person was literally asking, like, if I had $100, what could I do with it? And
I'm surprised to see that in the real estate Facebook group.
yeah, there's most people are good, but there are definitely some bad apples, and it sucks. And maybe you're new, maybe you're getting experience, maybe you don't have a lot of money, it can be overwhelming and you're not sure what to do. So I created a post and I shared, if I had $100, what would I do with it? I literally laid out month 1, month 2, month 3, and I laid out, this is it, just so you know. Someone else was talking about farming, I think. I laid out what I would do with $100. That post went viral. There was like 60, 70 people just commenting, saying how amazing this was. Thank you so much. It's really eye-opening for me. So I turned that into this section, and I wanted to share with other people, because I know if some people online were looking for help and needed that, other people would want that as well. So I created this to share with other agents how, if they only had this limited budget, what could you do? Now you can scale this up, you can scale it down, you can do more with it, but I wanted to share an actual framework for 12 months of, if you had $100, what could you do with it to start to get results? So that's basically how I created it. So I made that plan, I put it together, and I turned it into this session. So why am I sharing this with you? I just mentioned a few. I want to give inspiration. I want to get people excited about farming. I want to get people to rethink what they can do with it. One of the things I want to do is help save you from bad things. So maybe you've been online, maybe you've heard people saying, do this or don't do this, tell you to not do farming, not waste your money. I want to encourage you. So again, maybe you're sitting there going, I'm not sure if I have enough money, or what can I do with $100? I want to encourage you to know that you can do things with it and get results. I also hopefully want to save you some money, because it can be a very expensive business. Sure, if we've tried different things over the years, we've tried different strategies, and it can be very expensive.
Yeah, $1,700 on like working with a company for listings.
And there's lots of options for spend a lot of money. But hopefully you can reframe and think about how you spend your money. Hopefully to inspire you as well. At the end of the day, hopefully you don't have to follow the plan exactly, but at least you can look and go, okay, I can get more from this if I'm intentional with my money and more purposeful with it. I can achieve things with it. And ultimately, I want to change your perspective on farming. A lot of people have misconceptions on what they think farming is or what it isn't, and they have a misconception on what they can get from it, or how expensive it's going to be, or how long it's going to take, or the types of results they should get. So I want to change your perspective on that. And by the end of this, hopefully have you reframe how you see farming. So what could you easily spend $100 on today outside of real estate? If you had said, here's $100, go spend it. What could you spend it on?
No.
One trip to Sephora.
Yeah. What could you spend $100 on?
Few lipstick.
Lipstick, yeah.
A decent lunch.
Lunch, yeah.
Sponsor,
Yeah, exactly. So
dinner.
My groceries for the day.
exactly, groceries, that. So the reason I share this is that there are a lot of easy ways to spend $100. You could spend it on some shoes, easy spend $100. You could spend it on some entertainment for your kids, a video game, something like that. You could spend it on a dinner date. You could spend it on a tank of gas, if that, depending on the type of car you have. You could spend it on an outfit. So there's a lot of easy ways to spend $100, and it's easier to spend $100 than it is to invest in your business. So I want you to think about, what if you save that money? If you could just put away $100 a month, what would that do for your business? Would it do much for your business if you put away the $100? You wouldn't be spending it on things, but if you just save it, it could potentially, if you build up enough, it could save it. But what if you took that money and invested it into your business instead? So instead of buying a pair of shoes, instead of buying the lipstick, instead of buying the grocery, we need groceries, but instead of buying the snacks or whatever, what if we invested that in our business? Well, I want to share with you 3 secrets to what we could do if we shared it. And there's 3 secrets to making this $100 a month work. So it's easy to blow it. We said you can easily spend money and not get results, but I wanted you to think about these 3 secrets and how we can leverage them. First thing we're gonna have to do to make sure we get the most out of the $100 is we're gonna have to think outside the box. If we go to traditional type spending on real estate, it's easy to blow up money, and we sometimes do what everyone else did. We see what someone else did, and you could easily spend it on a billboard or a park bench or something like that and blow their money and not have the results. So we're gonna have to think outside the box. We're also gonna have to create a foundation and add building blocks. I'm gonna show you what that's gonna look like in a second, but we wanna create a foundation that we can build off of. A lot of times people will choose one strategy and just use that strategy and it doesn't work, and then they get upset about it. So we want to start with a foundation, we're gonna add on to that. So we'll get to that in a minute. The next one, or the last one, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is a mistake that a lot of agents make, is they take their money, they throw it at one thing, go, I hope this works. They cross their fingers and say, I hope this works, and then it may not work. And then all of a sudden they just blew $1,200 in a year and it didn't work. So we want to kind of layer what we're doing and try different things. So we'll show you how to do that in a minute. So if we want to get started with it, there's a few things we need to do. As I mentioned, we want to start with the foundation. And there's 2 key steps to laying that foundation, and I'll share the steps and how we can apply that. The first one is, in order for this to work, you're going to need the desire to succeed. This is not just a set it and hope something happens, and you're going to need the time to actually work this. This business is going to cost you something. It's going to cost you time, money, energy, or resources. It's always going to cost you something. If you think you're going to get in this business and not spend any of those, then you need to get into a different business. So we have to be prepared to want to succeed, and then actually the time to do it. We're going to need the $100 a month. That's step 2. You're going to have to need the money to spend on it. And then for this to work, we usually work with about a farm of about 100 homes. Now you can scale up, you can scale down, you can change that if you want. But for the $100 a month, we're roughly going to pick about 500 homes in that area to start with. So, I'm going to lay out my plan, share with you what I would do now that we kind of got the foundation in place. So guys, if you guys are jumping on, I'm not sure if anyone's on the call yet that jumped on. If you guys want to grab a copy of the workbook, you can get that.
So quicker, I'm gonna make it life a little easier at all.
Thank you. We're just switching to a clicker. That will be much better. Follow inside. We plug it right into the computer. Oh, it's on all the time.
No, it's right there. Yeah, let me give that a go.
1 second.
You could just continue.
Okay, I'll keep going. All right, if you haven't grabbed that, you can get a copy of that. So I'm gonna share with you my $100 a month blueprint. No, that's all right. Okay. I appreciate it though. So I'm gonna show each month, tell you what to do, what I would do with the $100 and how you can layer that in. So the first step, what I would do if I'm getting started with an area is I would create a community Facebook group. Now, if you are doing an area of 500 homes, you can pick an area that has more than 500 homes in it, so you can scale up. But you can pick but I would focus on 500 of the homes in the area. So I would create a Facebook group for the area. What I would do is I would print off 500 postcards. And instead of talking about how great you are, the idea of the postcards is to invite the people in the community to your Facebook group. So you'll see once we kind of get the bigger picture of what the group's going to entail and how we're going to add value. But the intention is to go out and invite people. So I would go up and door knock 500 homes, print out the postcards. You can get about 500 postcards easily for $100 and invite the neighbors to the group. And you're going to say, here's what we're going to work on. Here's what's going to happen over the next few months, what we're going to do with the Facebook group, and invite people to that group. The response rate will be much higher than most traditional real estate. If you go out and say, are you thinking about making a move? Most people won't respond, but this kind of thing, you'll get a good response with. So go ahead.
So 100 postcards?
500 postcards for $100. Yeah.
And then you do door knocking, and then you invite them to the Facebook.
Yeah, so the postcard itself will be an invitation to join the Facebook group. So
So what is this group? What do you explain?
we're gonna, this is all gonna start layering in. So we're gonna be talking about the community. We're gonna be inviting people to, sharing some of the things we're gonna be working on. And I said, once you see the big picture, you'll understand and you'll be able to create your content for that. So the idea is to get people into the Facebook group and get people connected. Next thing we want to do in the next month is connect with local businesses. And this is going to really build a solid foundation for what we're going to add to. And with this, I would spend the $100 and take 20 businesses out for coffee. Toronto might be 15, but a little more expensive. You meet at Tim Hortons, you could spend $4, $2 each coffee, and bring some businesses out for a coffee. The purpose of this, and again, it'll make more sense as we go through, is not to tell them how great you are, not to tell them that they should send you business. It's to find out about the business themselves and ask how you can bring some value to them. So for the month, you can easily bring out one person a day, meet for coffee with a business owner. One thing I will say is don't focus on businesses that are real estate specific. most of the times as agents, we tend to want to go to mortgage brokers, stagers, lawyers. We want to look for people that are servicing that area that are good for the community and not just real estate specific. So we want to connect with coffee shops. We want to connect with a home decor store. We connect with someone who's got a dog grooming business. And the intention of this, which will make sense in a minute, is to start building those relationships. And then you're going to explain to them, here's what we're working on. We're creating this community Facebook group. We're doing some community initiatives. We'd love to have you on board. Not everyone's going to be 100% on board, but we're looking for a handful of people, and it'll make sense in a minute. So the purpose of this is to start building those relationships. So as we do that, it's going to lay the foundation for the next steps. What we want to then do is I would do a
Just on the store owners, would like a school principal in an area?
100%. Then you can add on other contacts. It's really to make contacts in the community. So it could be businesses, things to do, could be school programs, it could be a library. We're looking for people that we can build relationships with. And then, as you see, you'll see the bigger picture in a second. Next thing is I would do is a community food drive. This is one of the easiest and cost-effective ways to get out and create community connections. We've done this. We're now doing our third one this fall, and it's a very simple process. You take your $100, you spend it on some flyers. Now that you've built some relationships with those local businesses, you're going to ask them to put up some flyers in their businesses, or the school, or the other areas that you're connecting with, and they're going to promote it. And then we're going to do some postcards or flyers. We actually did it super cheap. We did 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, black and white. We cut it into 2 and just did some simple flyers. And we put together a food drive, and it was a porch pickup food drive. We usually do about 2 to 3 weeks out from the date of the pickup. And we let the neighbors know we're putting together a food drive, and we picked a cause. So ours in Fort Erie was a COPE. It's called COPE. It's a food bank. And we say we're going to be delivering, picking up food on this date. You can leave it on your porch. Just let us know, and we're going to collect it from all the participants. We ended up getting 350 pounds of food in our one collection. And it took, Nikki did 2 afternoons, 2 early evenings of door knocking, and then 1 evening of picking it up, and then 1 afternoon of dropping it off. So less than 8 hours total. The great thing and why this works is we have connections at the door. We have the connections, people, even if they don't connect with us, they're getting the flyer or the postcard. People are going to be seeing the flyers in the local businesses. Hopefully those local businesses are going to support it as well. And when you work with the local business, what I would do is have them be a drop-off as well. So if they agree to it, you could say, would you be willing to be a drop-off for the community, so people could drop it off if they can't do the community hub? So now you're getting them involved and engaging with it. And now you've got the contacts that they're going to register, because we get people to sign up for it. We now get their name, email address, their address, the phone number. And then you've got the day of the pickup, and then you've got the follow-up after saying, this is how people signed up, this is how much we raised, thank you so much. So we're getting people involved. Now this is going to be promoted in your Facebook group as well. So it's not just the day of event, or the people of the postcard itself. We're going to be promoted to the group as well. Very cost effective, very easy to run. And the nice thing with this is it creates goodwill to not just the community, but it creates goodwill to you. So when you put this together, you're not donating the food yourself, obviously. We donate as well. But when people are donating, they feel good. They feel good about themselves, but then they tie those good feelings to you and to the community you serve. So this is something that's very effective and easy to put together. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. So that's month 3. Month 4 is now we want to start doing business interviews. What we want to do is focus on some of those key businesses that we've connected with, or people in the community, things to do in the community, and start to interview them. And again, you may have 20 people you met with. You may choose 4 or 5 of those people that might be a good fit for you to interview. And we want to focus on 5 things. It's just who, what, where, when, why, how. And just do a quick interview. You could do it on your phone, super simple. You could do it on Zoom, and just ask them some simple questions of who are you? What do you do? Why should people support you? Where can they find out more about you? And what are you guys doing, or you could promote something like that. So you could ask some fun questions, but keep it super simple, keep it short, and it creates great content that you can leverage. And the nice thing with that is now you're supporting the local businesses, but then you have content that you can use. And the key with this is it does 4 key things. For one, it's very affordable, because you have a cell phone, if you have a microphone, you don't really have to spend the money. I would spend $100 on, if you don't have get a decent microphone, you can get wireless microphones for like $30. You have like 2 of them we picked up on Amazon, they're super cheap. Or a tripod for your camera or your phone. So you can spend the money on that, otherwise you don't really need to spend much.
Or you could just do it in our media room.
There you go, exactly, you have people come in, yeah, that's a great way to do it, and then have them do it here, or like I said, do it from Zoom, you can really do it on your computer. The reason why this is so impactful is, the first thing is, like I said, is it's content for you to use for your audience. So now you've got your Facebook group, you're gonna be sharing these in the Facebook group. The other reason why it's so impactful is these local businesses have an audience. If they're in business, they hopefully have consumers, they've got people that support them. And now they've got an audience they can potentially reach you or connect you with. They also potentially could refer you. If you build strong relationships, you can now build a strong network of referral partners. And the third part, which is the most important, is they're going to share it with their audience. And this is why it's so impactful, is they have an audience that they're going to introduce you to, because now they've been interviewed, they're going to share it. And I use this example all the time. If I run a Facebook ad, I don't go run and tell my mom and dad that I ran a Facebook ad. My mom and dad don't care that I paid for a Facebook ad. If I did a postcard, I don't go show my mom and dad that I ran a postcard. But if I get interviewed on something, I'm much more likely to share that with my friends and family. And if you make it easy to share digitally, people are going to share it. And to this day, we did an event years ago, and I was on the front cover of the Burlington Post. We did a fundraiser. My mom still has that 10 years later on her fridge, because she's proud of me for getting on the front cover of the Post. So what happens is people share when they look good. So when you interview the local business, it's going to make them look good, and they're going to share it with their audience. And then what then happens is you get trust built into that, because right when you share that with everyone, so when they share that with their audience, there's instant trust with their audience because they're sharing it. So you actually get the trust passed on to you. And I use Oprah as an example. Oprah is not really an expert at anything but bringing experts together. That's what's made Oprah Oprah. She brings on the guests, she brings on the experts, and because she has on the experts, that elevates her expertise. I mean, she's done a lot of stuff, but she built her brand on bringing in experts and connecting with people. Larry King brings on experts, and his expertise was built up by being the expert. So when you interview people and local businesses in your community, you get that expertise passed on to you. So it builds extra trust. So it really is a very effective, cost-effective, time-effective, and now you can reach people's audiences much quicker and much broader. We did a video in our town. There's a Pokemon shop, and my son loves Pokemon, and we go there all the time. The husband and wife that run the business, awesome people. They got a really cool shop. We did a video with them, and we did a giveaway, which we'll share in a second as well. We did a giveaway, and they donated a $25 gift card, and we promoted the video, and we shared it. And the last I checked, we had 1,100 views on that. We live in a small town, so that's a lot of people in our small town. About 600 of them came from their audience. So large portion was our audience, but even more was their audience. And we did the same thing with the dog grooming business, and they shared it with their audience. So when they share it, now you're going to get in front of a lot more people. So yeah, we're going to share it with our audience for sure. We're going to share it with our group, but we're going to reach people at a much faster rate and get people getting eyeballs on you, and it just really enhances things. So that's one of the easiest and most cost-effective things we can do to start elevating our status. The next thing I would do is a community newsletter. And when we do this right, this can be very effective at long-term follow-up. One of the things that we built our business on was a community newsletter. We call it a neighborhood home price report, but it's really a community-based newsletter. And we send this out each month. And in our farm, we used to do a hard copy originally. We would send it out to 450 people out of 3,600 people in there. And we shared tips, ideas of what's happening, heartwarming stories. We'd share business interviews. We'd share things that are going on in the community, interest rate details. We had sales data as well, but it was really about the community itself. It wasn't just about real estate. So what I would do, $100, is I'd go back and get some postcards, go back to the neighborhood again. So now you're about 4 months in, throw out the area and say, we're putting together a community newsletter. Love for you to be part of that. And you'll be blown away how many people will sign up for that. So Nikki, now she's coached by me and does really well. She gets 52% of the people that she speaks with will sign up for her report. I'm not saying you're gonna get that numbers, but generally we see people getting between 25 and 35% of the people they speak with will sign up to get something like this. So now you're getting a much larger audience. So we've got, hopefully they're in the group. Now we've got them on the newsletter. You can now promote this newsletter in the group. You can promote the group in your newsletter. You can promote the interviews in your newsletter. You can promote the interviews in the Facebook group. And we're starting to tie it all together. The nice thing with this now is you have another way of reaching people other than the Facebook group itself. So we have another layer that we can communicate and connect with people. So again, just go out and door knock, let people know. Hopefully by now they've seen that you've been doing the Facebook group. They've hopefully seen your videos. They've seen that you've done the food drive. And they're going to start to see you in a different light. It's going to be a much different perspective than if I was just sending out just lists of postcards. So this can be very effective and very powerful. Now, the next thing I would do is run a contest. So what I would do is now, hopefully you built some relationships. You're 6 months in, you built some relationships with the local businesses, and I would do a contest. So I mentioned earlier, we did one with the Pokemon company. I would get them, I would buy a gift card for them. So I'd spend your $100 and buy 4 $25 gift cards or 5 $20 gift cards, however you want to lay it out. And you can decide how you want to do this. You could do one giant prize. You could do 4 or 5 smaller prizes. And what you now do is go to your list and add that into your Facebook group, go to the local businesses and get them to support it. Mention it in your newsletter. We're going to promote the businesses themselves. So we did for the Pokemon one, people had to comment what their favorite Pokemon was, and then they got entered into the draw. So the nice thing with something like this is now you're promoting those local businesses. You're supporting them, and then getting the communities to be aware of them. They're even more likely to support you. So if you've done an interview with them, it's a great reason to do another video and just say, hey, we're doing a contest. Would you be interested in doing a video with us? They're going to want to support it. They're going to want to share it because it helps them. So now you're reaching people in a different way. It now gives you something to promote and to share, and you're going to get a lot more engagement with something like this. I would say be careful on how often you do these. We like to do once in a while. Some people do giveaways all the time, and then people just expect giveaways from you, and they only care because they want the next thing. So if you're going to do it, do a big deal about it, and then do it every once in like every 6 months to a year. But this is a great way to, again, double support. What you'll find is if you build strong relationships with the local businesses, they're probably going to donate the money anyways. So you could top it up and say, okay, they put in, we'll match you for $25. We'll put it, and you could make an even bigger pot. Could be services, it could be a gift card, it could be actual product, whatever it is. People love winning stuff. That's human nature. So it's a great opportunity to then promote what's going on. Again, you can share that in your Facebook group, your newsletter, and all of that. So very easy to do. Next thing I would do is do a community survey. And what I would do with the community survey is, again, I would do some flyers. And what the purpose is, you'll see in the next section. We're going to be working on a community guide. So what we want to do is find out what people want to see in the community guide and what people want to see in the content you're creating. So we're going to go back and door knock the area, and we're going to start to ask people, hey, we're putting together a community guide, which should make sense in a second, and just wanted to get some input on what you guys would like to see. Very simple, very easy to put together. You can really don't even have to spend much because you don't even have to have flyers, but you could do an online one. This is where I would spend the money, is a flyer or a postcard to drive them to fill out some information. What you could also do, if you went back to the contest, that could be one of the prizes. If they fill out survey, they enter the survey, they could win a prize as well. So you could double up that way. What you want to do, really find out what's important to them. And the reason why this is so impactful is when people feel heard, they're going to connect and want to be part of something bigger. So when they feel like you're listening to them and they feel like you're actually taking their advice and putting that as part of your content, what you're working on, they're going to want to connect with you. So what we're going to do is create a guide, which I'll show you next. And this allows us to also get content that we may not have even thought about. So people can share things that they like, things that they want to support. They're being heard, and you are getting basically free content ideas as well. So again, with 500 homes, you should be able to get this done in a few days. So it shouldn't take too much time, but it's going to create another touch point and another way to add value. So the next one is pick a community cause. I'll show you how we tie that together. So I would pick something that you care about and that you want to support. This is where I would do postcards. So the first one you could spend the money on some type of prize, but I would do some promotion of a cause that you care about. And what we do is we can use this to kind of cross promote and build relationships. So one of the things that we did, that I mentioned earlier, I got on the front cover of the Burlington Post. There was a kid in the neighborhood that we farmed, and he built birdhouses with his dad. So him and his dad built them young, and he was 8 or 9 at the time. And all the money that they made from it went to Joseph Grant Hospital. At the time, I think they had raised, it was like $7,000 or $8,000. I was like, love what they did. Like, this is such a cool thing. This is awesome. It's cool to see the dad and the son working together. They're selling these things. All the money goes to them. It's a house, so it ties into real estate. We brought them into our office. We had our team meeting, and they sold like $1,300 at our office. It was awesome. They loved it. This was awesome. So I'm like, this is cool. We should do more of this. And because they lived in our farm, we ended up partnering with RBC Bank, and RBC, one of the mortgage guys there, was like, this is awesome as well. We put together a big event at RBC, and we promoted that to the neighborhood. We ended up raising total between our office and them was almost $8,000 in sales. So what we did was we promoted that event rather than promote ourselves. We promoted that event, but then on the back of the postcard was some information about ourselves. So we had a neighborhood report that we created, and we used that as a way to get in with people. But the opening line was, hey, we've got this event on May 24th. Would you like to come out and support us? It was an awesome event, but we used that as the catalyst to get in front of people. That helped build our brand, that helped build our name, that helped us get connected. But the cause was the most important part of it. So if there's a cause you can support in your community, in your area, leverage that, use that, get publicity for that. One of the things that people have happen is they'll get asked for to sponsor something, and they'll ask for a bunch of money, and then basically all they get is a logo on a sign, and they get mentioned in. Rather than do sponsorship, we do promotional sponsorship in lieu of, instead of me giving you cash, is we'll support your cause to our audience, because we have an active audience. You've got your Facebook group, you've got your email list, you've got a list of people that you're communicating with, and we say we'll support your cause by promoting it to our audience. So now you're building relationships with the people that are running those causes, and it just helps reach more people. So that's what I would do. Spend $100 on some postcards, or you can make donations, just gotta let people know. Super easy to do, and doesn't have to cost a lot. Now we want to make that community guide. So what we want to do is put together a list of things from some of that feedback. We want to put together, you can do this in Canva. So you can spend $100 on, you can hire an assistant, or a virtual assistant to put this together. There's templates you can buy online on Etsy. You can buy like Canva templates on there. And I would put together a community guide for your neighborhood. So I would do things to do, places to eat, important contact information, a bit of details, about schools, about the parks, about things that are in the area that you serve. And you can now use this as a lead magnet. So you can use it to promote yourself. You can use it to generate new leads as you get people coming to the area. You can use this guide as a way to promote yourself. You can use it at listing presentations. If you get new clients, this is a great thing to pass on to them. And now what we want to do is tie in some of the feedback that we got from the survey. And if you really want to make it awesome, if there's people that you connected with while you're doing that survey, highlight them in this. This is a great way to, so Jenny said this is a great restaurant, and you can put Jenny's favorite restaurant. And if Jenny wants to do it, you can have a picture of Jenny. You could choose people who might be more connected, who might be more willing to share it, because they're going to feel good about themselves, and they're going to share it as well. So don't be afraid to leverage the relationships you have. You can promote with some of the local businesses in there and really tie this together. Now, what you want to do in this also is tie back to the things we've already talked about, which is your Facebook page. So you could, or your Facebook group, you can have a page in there, digital, won't cost you anything extra to do it. Live in this neighborhood, want to find out what's happening in the community, join the Facebook group. So you can have a simple page for that. If you have your newsletter, you can have a page in there or an ad for signing up for your newsletter. If you've got events coming up that you're supporting, you can have it in there. So you can use this as a way to enhance all the other things that you're doing. And it doesn't have to, again, cost a lot of money. It takes a little bit of work up front, but once you have it, once you have that basic template and the information there, you can use that over and over again. You could update it every 6 months or quarterly or once a year if you want to, and that becomes something you can use on all the time.
So the community guide is, so that's going to be in digital format.
You could do a print version as well if you wanted to. So if you had clients that you want to meet with, you could print off a copy and give them a copy of that. You could have hard copies if you want to do. It's just going to cost more money because there's the printing costs. So to keep costs down, you could do just digital, but you could absolutely do a printed copy. You could have them in some of those local businesses that you are supporting and have that up front. A good friend of mine, Danny, I did this training for his audience and he brought up a really awesome point. Because it's digital, you could actually co-brand with some of those local businesses and have it brought to you by your team or your name or whatever, and that business, and have individualized ones for each of you and those businesses. Then those businesses can share it with their audience and they're going to share it because their branding's on it. So you could have a bonus ad or some information about them in there as well. So it's a way to personalize it to them, and then they're more likely to share it with their audience as well. So there's a lot of different things you could do with it. Again, it just depends on how in depth you want to go, but with something like Canva, it's free to create on there. So usually sky's the limit on what you can do with it. So yeah. Next one is collaborative marketing. So now we want to start connecting back to those local businesses we have and start working together. And similar, like we just talked about, collaborating on marketing pieces together with some of these businesses can enhance what we're doing. So you can do a few things with it. You can do, you want to cross promote, and that's the key with cross promoting and the collaboration is you want to get in front of their audience and you want to get their audience in front of yours, and or get them in front of your audience. So when we collaborate, like the guide is a perfect example of that, it reaches more audiences more quicker and it builds that trust in. So you can spend $100 on cross promotional materials. You could do your own giveaways and gift cards. So if they maybe want to promote something that you got going on, the key really is how do we promote them and how do we get them to promote us. So one of the things that I really like to do is if you're active in Facebook groups, if you are in any type of online groups, if you're communities, you get people asking for people all the time. They're always saying like, who do you have as a plumber? Who do you know that can do my dog walking? Who do you know that could clean my carpets? So you can get some graphic designs done and do just like an image, almost like a business card, and have Ryan recommends, ours For Your Home Group recommends this company. And so now it's almost like a digital business card for them, but you have your branding on it. So when someone says, who do you have that's a good cleaner? You can now just share that image and say, Ryan recommends this cleaner. So it allows you to then promote other people, but you're still kind of getting your own promoting in there, and vice versa. You can get those businesses to start to promote what you're doing. One of the things I think that's important as you start to build these relationships, you're going to want to customize, and that's why I don't have a set what I would do with the money on this one, because certain businesses have certain audiences, certain businesses have different ways of marketing, how they reach people. So just brainstorm on how you can collaborate with those other businesses and look for opportunities. And that's when I meet with businesses. That's my number one question I always ask is, how can I bring value to you? And inherently, they're going to tell you how they can bring value. And so the next question they're going to ask is, I really appreciate it. How can I bring some value to you? And then my response is always just, hey, just connect with your audience and I'd love to do the same. So look for opportunities to collaborate together, because you're going to find ways of really standing out and getting in front of more people. This is how you expand. Those collaborations, those cross promotions is going to help you reach more people and grow past the 500 homes, and you can do it very effectively. But the next one is a neighborhood social. So if you do this, there's a couple different ways of doing a neighborhood social. So we're getting to the end of the year. Hopefully by now people know who you are. You've got a list of people. You've got your Facebook group going. Got local businesses. Got your email list. What I would do is get together and create some type of neighborhood social. One of the easiest things you could do is something like food trucks in the park. You don't have to buy anything. You just say, hey, we're going to bring food truck into the area and talk to a food truck or two food trucks and say, hey, we're going to get together and just kind of mingle as a community. They're buying their own food. You're not paying for anything, so you don't have to worry about it. So if you can do something where you bring people together, they buy their own stuff, you just are enhancing what you're doing so you can promote it and let people know. In our neighborhood, we had someone got together and did over the summer, they did dinner on the driveway. So they got people to get together, and then people are eating on their driveway, and then you could go around and talk and mingle with the neighbors. So you could just think about how you can bring the community together, because again, this is gonna help connect you to the community. The other option is to have some of those businesses sponsor something, so you could maybe do some appetizers or do some, give away some ice cream or something like that, and get people to come together. If you spend the money, it'd be more on promoting it, so try to keep it as affordable as possible and get people to show up for it. You could do a potluck, you could do a barbecue in the park, you could do a picnic in the park, whatever it is, just you want to get the community to come together. One of the things you can do as well is work with like a local restaurant and put together some type of event and have them come to that, so now they're supporting them as well. The secret here is being the person that ties it together and being the person that promotes it. Again, if they're paying for their own way, then it won't cost you anything to do that. If you got sponsors, they could help offset some of those costs if you do it. So that's the month 11, and then last month is celebrate your wins. So take the $100 and spend it on you. I know it won't go far. We talked about the things you could do, but take some time. You've now gone through a full year of this. You've hopefully built a database. You've built a list of people. Take that time and just spend it on you and appreciate it. If you don't want to do that, if you have a problem spending money on you, spend it on your family, whatever. Just appreciate what you do. So that's the 12-month plan. That's an easy way to spend $100. That's effective, that works together, that combines everything. At the end of the year, what I want you to do though is evaluate and reevaluate what worked, what didn't work, what did you like, what resonated, what didn't resonate. I'm just giving a framework to start with. You're going to find certain things resonate well with yourself or your audience. Look back over the year and say, hey, this was a really good thing for me. Maybe I can double down on that. Maybe I can do more of that. For us, we really like community events. So we do a few key community events. We do the food drive, we do a community garage sale, we do a skate night, and we're working on another one. So we try to do quarterly events. That's something that works well for us. Our neighborhood report is our biggest lead generator, lead converter. So that's something we double down on. So you're going to find things that really resonate and what don't resonate. Then you can start to figure out where you're going to spend your money next year and work on that. So now it's your turn. You guys have an option. You can do nothing. And give you literally a plan month by month. I told you what to do, so you can take that and do nothing. Hopefully you won't, or you can go do something with it. And like taking action on it, you're going to be able to see some results. I would say, what's the worst that can happen? If you did that, I mean, for some people, $100 a month is a lot. But if you spent $100 and you did it intentionally, you did it purposefully, you were intentional at growing your list and growing, what's the worst that can happen? At the end of the year, you're going to have a larger database, you're going to have more connections, you're going to build stronger relationships. You'll have at least tried something in your area and you've grown. If you don't do it, you're going to be where you are or worse off. So take the money, invest it in your business, and have an impact. And then I also want you to think about what strategies can you put into business as well. What things that you can think of. That's why I said that I want you to really open your mind to what is the possibilities. There are things you might want to do. You might go, hey, I could spend $100, or maybe this month I can spend 200, do something else, or think about how we can layer that all together and be intentional with it. There's things that you might enjoy. Maybe you like teaching, maybe you like sharing things, maybe you've got connections with community groups, maybe there's things you can do that you can customize and make your own. You don't have to follow mine exactly, but just think about what you can do and add into it as well. So in the downloads, there is a plan in there. So it literally lays it out for 12 months, your main strategy, what your budget is, and what your key goal is. So you can go through that and lay out your year. I strongly suggest having a framework laid out. Don't wait month by month, because what happens is a week goes by into the next month and then you're busy and you're getting behind. Lay out your month. It doesn't have to be set in stone, but just give you a general framework. There's also some alternative strategies in there, so you can go through those and just kind of give you some ideas on things you can add. So just literally, when you go home today, go through that, think about how you can apply that plan and start working on it. Usually what I start to do, if I'm doing something like this, is I'll pick date-specific things that I know have to be at certain dates, and then Facebook group. So if you guys want, I'd love for you to join. We should do live webinars on there. We do additional training. We share tips, strategies. There's almost 800 people in there now. My focus is really growing this group. So I'd love for you to join the group. It's the expert agent, so you can go to the expert agent on Facebook, or you can scan that. There's a ton of great resources in there, and we're gonna be doing a lot more with it. We're doing live videos and doing more training on how to become a community expert and how to build a solid farm foundation. The next one is my farm or Launch Your Farm podcast. So as I mentioned, I've done 115 episodes. I'm relaunching that later this year. Gonna be elevating it to another level with whole new format, but you can check out, there's 115 episodes on there. We have agents from all over, awesome people doing awesome things, sharing great tips and strategies. So that's that. So thank you for being here, and I will open it up for questions if you got them.
This is not a question as much as this is a statement. I just joined your group, and I think just the process of joining the group is a masterclass on how to get people into a Facebook group.
Yeah.
You'll see when you go in, there's like a couple of questions. I guess when you're going through, try to think about why those questions are important. I love it.
Yes.
So can you go back to that page?
Yeah.
There.
Absolutely.
Do you have any questions for when people join the Facebook group from this side of things?
Sure. So if you guys see, you'll understand. Use your Facebook questions as a lead generator and a way to establish yourself as an expert. So I would be offering something of value. So you'll see I offer a guide if you want, so offer something. So you could be doing your report. If you have a report, that'd be an easy one. Would you like to get a copy of our neighbor report, or your community guide is an easy one to add in there. You want to find out if they actually live in that neighborhood. So that would be the first one. If you want it exclusive to the area you're farming, that would be the first question is, do you live in this area? Yes or no? You want to make sure that you don't want somebody from 3 cities over joining, or just try to find out. If you want outside of that, by all means. So that would be the first one. Second one is give something away, and then you want something that is real estate specific. So I would do something that's general for them. You could do, would you like to find out how much your home's worth, or want to know, do get an equity checkup or something like that, where you can offer something where you're kind of qualifying them and getting them to put their hands up to see if they might be making a move. And that would be, because you're limited to 3. So I would do something like that. That's going to help get some leads that way. So give them something, offer them something else, and then ask them where they're from. So good question.
So at the beginning, when you go for inviting people for the Facebook group.
Yep.
How do you introduce yourself?
So simple script would be, I'm in Brian, I'm with Keller Williams. We're gonna be doing a lot of awesome things in the community over the next year and coming years. And we're creating a Facebook group for the area. And I wanted to personally invite you. Over the next few months, we're gonna be doing some really cool things like X, Y, and Z, the things you're doing. Love for you to be part of that. It's gonna be great events. There's gonna be giveaways, there's gonna be contests, whatever it is. Love to personally invite you. If you have your phone, you can actually scan the QR code right now and you can join the Facebook group. If not, I'll leave you a postcard here. Just go on Facebook. Here's the link for it, and I'd love to see you participate in that.
So what do you think if people see you as a real estate agent doing this one? And this, in neighborhood, maybe many people go to do door knocking
Yes.
or many things. So how do you think that the people are gonna respond to
They're gonna love
you?
it. They're gonna stand out because no one's done anything like that. I can tell you with
Yeah.
certainty, because I spoke to thousands of agents all across North America. No one's doing anything like this. You're gonna differentiate yourself. So one of the things in this session, I didn't teach, but the kind of mantra of what I believe the true experts in farming focus on what I call CPR, which is community, positioning, and relationships. The agents that have the biggest, strongest, best farms are absolutely community focused first and foremost. The transaction is secondary to it. So they are focused on growing the community, giving back to the community, making an impact in the community. So when you do something like this, you're bringing the community together. That is going to be a game changer. Then the next one is positioning. So you have to learn to position yourself as an expert and an ambassador. And there's 2 different ways you can do that. By being an expert, you want to show that you're elevating, you stand out, and you know more than the number. Doesn't mean you have to sell more homes, doesn't mean you have to be the #1 agent. Again, that's a whole other session I could really teach on just that. But you want to position yourself as someone who is an expert. And then the ambassador part, this is absolutely an ambassador move. Where you're saying, hey, I care about the community, I'm giving back to the community, I want to support the community. And it changes people's perception of you. Most people think real estate agents are sleazy, we are overpaid, we don't do much, we're all the same. There's 90,000 agents in the Toronto Real Estate Board, and everyone does the same thing. It's all about their name and their face and how great they are. This completely removes you from that pack and helps you stand out. So that makes a big difference. And then the last part of the CPR is relationships. When you focus on relationships, your business is gonna grow, you're gonna have a massive change. If you are only focused on just transactions, you're gonna be a transaction agent and your business is gonna go up and down with the market. When you're relationship based, your business is gonna thrive. So people are gonna resonate with this, promise you, because I know agents who do it, we do it personally in our own area and it works really well. So it's a different way. And that's why I said at the beginning, you're gonna reframe how you see the business. But there are people who absolutely will connect with us and will want to work with you. Nikki, when we did our garage sale, the first year we did our garage sale, she was brand new to doing it. We were newer to I grew up there, but she moved to the area. She got a phone call from someone and said, it was a week after their garage sale and said, I just want to let you know, my daughter's moving from Vancouver and I'm referring my daughter to you. She's moving next year. She's like, just what you're doing for the community, I can't imagine referring anyone else. Nikki had sold like 2 houses in the neighborhood prior to that. She could have chose the person who did way more deals, who's been around for years. She said, I just love what you're doing for the community and the difference you're making. And there's no one else I'd rather send a business to. So there are people who absolutely love and respect that and are going to be part of it.
Yeah, if it's okay, I just want to dig in. How do you anticipate people would respond to this?
So when I started this job, I started with the COVID time. So mostly I was comfortable, I was not comfortable with calling people. So
Yeah.
imagine that there was no other way. So I was calling people and then slowly I become comfortable to do that.
Yep.
This is something that I never done, so I don't feel, it looks like I have to come out of my comfort zone
Yep.
to do this one. But wondering that if it's gonna be happening as a solo person is better or just a group, like imagine that I go with 2 people knocking the door and tell this one, or just I go, hello, I'm working for the community, this is my Facebook page. So I think that this type of work needs to be like a group or team.
Absolutely good. And that's where partnering with those businesses, and that's going to help you build some of that rapport and build more stronger connections. Once you get going, you meet those local businesses, you're going to find people you connect with and you can say, hey, here's my mission. Here's what I'm working on. This is where I want to go with it. You're going to find people going, man, I love that. How can I support you? How can I be part of that? And absolutely, you can be working with them to support that and grow it. It really depends on the connections you have, how much you want to put into it. You can do this by yourself, absolutely, but if you bring in people and work with people, the only thing I would say is make sure that you are the captain driving the ship. So you can bring people in to help them, because what you don't want to do is you work with some people and then you both do it and then they're like, well, I want to go in this direction, you want to go in this direction. Now you built something and now it kind of goes south. I would say there has to be one captain of the ship and you can have your crew to help, but you need one person driving. I would make it me. So
one thing I also love about this is if you're like, for example, watching a movie and you expect the movie to be terrible and it turned out to be not that bad, that not that bad is like amazing, because I thought it was gonna be down here. So when you're knocking on a door and then you're starting, they are being in their heads. By the way, realtors don't knock, it's not like there's like a million realtors knocking all the time. Maybe there should be, but there aren't. But when they answer the door, they think, oh God, another realtor. Then you don't mention about, do you want to buy or sell a home? You don't say anything about that. You literally just provide value that's actually valuable for them, as opposed to, hey, here's 5 reasons you should sell your home thing. Like, that's not value to them. No one's thinking, what are the reasons that I should sell my home? So if you provide actual value, it's like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. So that small thing takes you from unwanted pest to welcome guest, like that.
Yeah. And it builds relationships. And we have another area we're now starting to double down on for our farm. Nikki's just crushing that area, and she got a lady added to her Facebook, and she went on her Facebook and posted saying, I just want to say thank you so much. You knocked on my door and my parents' door, and she's like, no one else is having boots on the ground in the hottest weather, door knocking, and she's like, you're providing so much value to the community. It means so much. When we're ready to move, we're gonna work. And the people are gonna see you in a very different light, and you're gonna be able to be more approachable. I'm an introvert. I like to do things that are introverted like, and this is an easy way to get out there and not have to worry about selling yourself. This is why when you put the relationship first, the transactions follow behind it. If you're just there going, are you making a move? You buying or selling? People are gonna say, screw you, get out of here. No, I'm not. 99% of people aren't thinking about making a move right now. I heard that stat, like only 1% of the population at any given time is thinking about making a move. Even if it's 5, it's 95% of people that aren't thinking about making a move. So if you're just trying to catch them making a move, you've missed an opportunity. This gets them into your world. This gets them to connect with you. This gets them to see that you are not just doing real estate. Doesn't have to cost you a lot of money, doesn't have to cost you a lot of time, but as you build those relationships, you're gonna be able to really connect, and then people will remember you longer. This is why farming is so effective. You're planting seeds now for future growth. Yeah, obviously we want now business. It's always good to get, I call it the golden nugget business, but what we're looking for is that long-term foundation. And I would say I'd rather have 4 years to build a relationship than 4 weeks. And a lot of people like, won't say names of trainers, but they're like, 5 people is buying and selling a house, and the next month, if they're not, move on to the next person. Like, I'd rather take 4 years of someone getting to know who I am, liking me, trusting me, getting to see the things I do. When the time comes, they're like, Ryan's our guy. That's who we're gonna work with. That is a long-term play, and that's why I'm learning. So
I think this is kind of a mindset question. In order for this to work, you need to be genuinely focused on the relationship and caring about the
Yes.
relationship. And in order for that to work, you have to be removed from the transaction. So if talking to somebody in the back of your mind is like, hope that they end up buying it, it doesn't work.
yes,
So you have to literally forget about it. So the whole concept of like, are they gonna, like, it doesn't matter. So how do you remove that thought from your head and be 100% focused on the relationship regardless of the outcome?
so it's emotional and psychological at the same time, in that you want to go, it's a numbers game, but it's a relationship numbers game. So it's not just,
No.
it's, I know for us, when we did our business, it was 42 people in our database turned into one deal. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to speak with 42 people to be able to build the business that way. Now, once I find those people, then I'm gonna love on those people. Then I'm gonna follow up and build relationships with them, focus on as much as I can, that at the end of the day, whether they buy, sell, or do anything, they've at least had a good experience. They're more likely to want to refer me. They're more likely to want to work with me. At the end of the day, if they don't, I'm not any worse off. I was building relationships and helping them out. So what I would do is focus on not the metrics. I mean, yeah, lots of coaches will say focus on real estate metrics. I focus on relationship metrics. You go, okay, how many people can I connect with? How many people can I connect with? How much value can I bring? And when you focus on bringing value, just worry about that. That's like, just bring as much value as you can, and then it'll come. And then you'll be surprised at how easy it comes. Like Nikki, she's introvert as well. She's super shy, but she's sweet as hell. People love her. And all she focuses on is just connecting with people. And she's at the door, and I've never seen someone get offered more food, drinks than anyone, because Nikki's not there trying to worry about the transaction. She's just trying to connect with people. If someone needs help, she'll offer help. Senior citizens love Nikki because she just connects with them. She had someone she met door knocking a year ago, connected with her at the door. He's in his 80s. Said he realized what she's doing. She's got him on the report. She did an open house last weekend, and he saw her signs and stopped by and dropped off butter tarts and a pizza. He does baking like as a side business. He dropped off some food for her. We have this. She just focuses on the relationships, and it works. So yeah, I'd say mentally just go, this is the relationship. And if they work with me. If they don't, they don't. And if they don't, did I do enough to bring value? Now, you shouldn't be super codependent and just drop everything and just love on them. You still have a business to run, but at the end of the day, look at the opportunities to add value and go, is this gonna add value, or is this just self?
So for these flyers that you're doing, do you have someone like doing the marketing for you, or every design is by yourself?
We do it ourselves because we make it pretty handy that way. So we use Canva. Canva is a game changer. Like back in the day, we used to do them, and I look back at postcards from 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I sent that out. But that was, at that time, was good. And I'm sure in 10 years from now, we're going back. That was the fun thing you did. You did postcards. What the heck? So we use Canva. I don't know if you guys have an in-house design or anything like that, but
Yeah, but you can also use the command design as well. If KW CRM has like a Canva version.
so now the nice thing now is technology is as technology gets more advanced, it's easier. Used to be, as technology got more advanced, it was more in depth. They're making it so user friendly that literally my mom would go on and use Canva, no problem. And I've showed her how to do something. She can mess around with it. So it's super easy to do it. Now, it takes time to figure out what looks good and how it works. And so that's just time and practice and doing it. But there are things you can get designed. You could pay someone to design it for you. You could try to design it yourself. But the problem is most designers are designing things that most real estate agents do, which is the same typical generic, just listed, just sold, how great I am, those kind of things. So it's sometimes hard to find. That's why I design it myself. It's a good question. Is there anyone on the chat have questions? You can throw them in there.
The QR codes, what do you use to generate them?
Canva.
Canva generates QR codes?
Yeah. If you go to the apps, there's a little section on apps. Now I Pro, I don't know.
I think it's only in
But is it only generating the QR code of the Canva itself, or like, let's say I want to generate the code for like the Facebook group,
If you just take the link, you put it in,
Canva?
yeah, and then there's so in the apps section, it'll say apps, you do QR code. And then it'll say what QR code, and then there's different models and styles and you can pick from, and it'll,
I'll show you how to do that really now. if you'd like.
super easy.
Wow.
You could also like Canva's crazy because they're also getting super into video.
Yeah.
So you could, not only could you edit videos, but they have like a lot of AIs with the editing as well. So you could post like this clip, if we put this, how long, an hour and 10-minute video into Canva and say, give me clips, it'll give you short social media clips from this that you could post. So one hour webinar could give you 15
Yeah.
short 45-second clips for social media.
And the pro version has like B-roll stuff that you can use. Nikki just did an announcement video. She hates doing videos, so she's like, I gotta get comfortable with it. So she's doing it. She did a 1.5 minute video on the rate changes. So she literally just had her talking head and then threw in some like little clips. There was people talking, people at a desk and whatever, and then just did her quick script and then snipped it together, put it together, and she said it's actually super easy. She's like, I'm actually surprised at how easy it was. So
All on Canva.
on Canva, yeah, it's crazy what it does. So that's the two biggest things for me is ChatGPT and Canva. Like those are things
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
never not.
I use ChatGPT for my listing
Yeah.
description.
Although that's just the typically I for like it. ChatGPT runs my life. It's nuts. I have
But
an
we should do
unhealthy
an AI
relationship
class.
with it. Yeah, you should check with Danny Wood because he just did one.
Danny Wood.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Danny.
I was speaking with Richard Silver about this actually. He used to be the president of the Toronto Real Estate Board.
Does he do AI stuff?
He does. He's like 7 years old and he's like so good at AI.
There's a lot of crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, and this is, I'm a firm believer that technology is gonna drive real estate, but at the end of the day, it's still gonna come down to relationships. You can have the fanciest bells and whistles, the fanciest things. Zillow is not gonna compete against a personal relationship with someone in your community. Some big brokerage that doesn't know anything about the area is not gonna compete against those relationships. And this is why, when you're hyper focused and intentional with your time in the relationship, in the farm building relationships, people will connect with you and want to. There are some people who will go to the big company or whatever, but when they know you and trust you and like you, that's what they're gonna.
I just wanna know, like, how is Frank Leo everywhere?
Well, he spends
He
a lot of money.
everywhere.
But the good thing
Like, I'll
about,
go to Hamilton, he's there. I'll come to Toronto, I'll go to Pickering, he's there. I'm like, everywhere I go, no matter how far I drive, he's there.
And how much money he spent?
yeah,
That's the thing, I don't know, they're not-
Do his own transactions, there's no way. He has everyone working for him.
the case for this business model, again, I don't know frankly on a personal level, but the case for this business model is that if he turns the advertising faucet off.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's his lifeline.
Mm,
There's no turning this advertising faucet off unless you decide not to keep in touch with people.
Exactly.
mm.
And it's, the more focused you are, the easier the relationships are to build. And you should actually share a clip from when I did the thing with you, my line I use all the time. I'd rather have 5 signs in one neighborhood than 1 sign in 5 neighborhoods. When people see you connecting in that neighborhood and they see your stuff, it becomes much more effective. So when you said earlier that you'll go all over, I guarantee you'll get way better response by being hyper focused. A lot of agents are afraid of missing out on that business. If you double down, and perfect example is I drove in from Hamilton today and traffic was bad. It was 2 hours to get here. Could have done a lot more in 2 hours. If you're like, so if you're driving all over, it becomes way more time consuming, way less effective with your time. So the more focused you are, you actually will get better results. And this is why we got 17 transactions in 15 months, because we were doubling down, we were hyper focused. If we were trying to do a little bit of advertising here, a little bit of advertising there, a little bit of advertising here, all over, we wouldn't have had any of those results. So because we were focused, you're gonna get a much better return. And it's gonna be a lot easier. Now, I know we could have built that even bigger. Andrew, my partner, he ended up quitting, he became a firefighter and dropped that big part of his business. So you can build something massive and you can get crazy business. Now, the mistake that a lot of agents make is, I won't say the names, but there's a big team in and around the area that we are in the area. They started in an area, grew really large, was very successful. Then they tried to expand to other areas. They didn't do what worked in their original area. Then they went and tried to build billboards and park benches and all the other things. And it's like that can work, but if you take the numbers of their market share in the area and then their market share outside, they had 13% market share in their first area and 3% market share everywhere else. So it's not as effective. So I'd rather take over another neighborhood, take over another neighborhood, take over another neighborhood. I'll share another example is Jenny Weimer. She's doing Keller Williams. She's in Orlando. So her first farm, she had 85% market share. In her, she was 500 homes, or no, 800 homes. She had 85% market share. Her next farm she took over, she had 55% market share. Then it went down, and because what happens is she stopped building the connections and the relationships, and she was down to like 12% in some of them. So she said, okay, what was working back at those beginning things? What can I do to make that more personal touch? She said now across the board, she has about 10,000, no, 18,000, something like that, homes that she focuses on, and she has 35% market share across the board. So it is the personal touch, it is those relationships that will make a difference. And when you can do that, it's just learning how to do that at scale. This is why community events are so impactful, because you can do one to many. So you can do an event where you're reaching more people and you're leveraging your time versus just trying to cold call individually and things like that. Anyways, that's. You guys have any other questions?
How many hours do you put every day to just you, probably you are doing real estate as well. How many hours you're putting for this type of work?
I try to keep, Nikki does 2 hours a day, if that, on the
And
lead
not
generation.
2 hours.
She should be doing a little bit more. She knows she should be doing about 3 hours a day, but it's, if you budget 2-3 hours a day, and you're committed to this, like in our farm, at first, when we did it, Andrew and I, we went just hard for like 3 months to really build it as quick as possible. It's why we got the results that we got. And it takes some work up front. So my old OP from my office, he said to me, he's like, Ryan, if you hustle for 6 months, he's like, you'll set your next 2 years up for the next 2 years. He's like, if you want to do that, you want to just double down and go, okay, I'm gonna work really hard for 2 years, for 6 months, or you can just spread it out and do a little bit every day. That's the best long-term strategy. Just live it every day. You're gonna see results.
So to hit your target of 500 homes per month.
Okay.
How many hours, like,
So it depends on.
so the time, like, how would you break that down? Like, how does that look?
So it depends on the size of the neighborhoods and it's like the one area we farmed was more of a new subdivision, so its homes are a lot smaller because the lots are smaller. Where Nikki's farming now, it's a little bit, or like 60-foot, 70-foot lots, not versus 30-foot lots, so it shaves off a little bit of time. But we aim for $30 to $40 an hour is our kind of number of door knocking. So you're looking at 10 to 12 hours in a month to door knock. So if you did it in 3 shifts, 3-hour shifts, you can easily do that in 3 days.
What do you do with the condominium building?
That's a tougher one. So you can't door knock it necessarily. So I'm a big believer in door knocking because it can work. That would be if you can get together where you're doing community events where you bring the community out, so you can do mailers to the area. Setting up a Facebook group would work really well for that because no one else is going to be able to get in the door knock. So if you can bring them together, so it might take more mailers to get people to sign up for it, but you can create a Facebook group for that condo or a group of condos and you can bring people together. I've seen people kind of do sneaky things and like sneak in and door knock anyways. I wouldn't advise that. Just try to build relationships with people. They have security for a reason. And if you're sneaking in, getting involved.
Oh, that would make them upset.
Right, exactly. So I wouldn't do that. But if you live in the building, that's another way to help. Like you build connections with people and talk to people. Sometimes the property management company could put up flyers in there for you if you were doing it. If you're really showing true value, this is why it's so important. If you're just trying to prospect, people aren't going to help you. If you're showing real value and saying, hey, I want to help bring some value, here's what we're doing, we're putting together an event, things like that, they're more likely to support you that way.
So for the community that you made from Facebook, for sure, at the beginning, there were 0 people following. How long into, like, you make good population?
It's gonna be how consistent you are. So the more consistent you are doing that, and this is where this is where I didn't say that, it's like, you should be promoting this all year long, not the one-time thing. It's on your emails, if you're sending out flyers, if you're doing things, you should be promoting that. If you're talking to people, just inviting people, just like I did with you guys, inviting to my Facebook group. The more you're out inviting people, the more you're gonna grow it. So you're gonna obviously have your biggest batch up front, then the secret is keeping growing, so that's where you wanna keep it.
So I mean, for the starting, today I go and ask, hello, I have a community, Facebook page.
Yeah.
And they come and see 0 people there, so how?
That's why you pitch it as, we're gonna be growing this, here's what we're gonna be doing over the next year.
I
I'd love you
mean,
to-
yes, I mean that you start with 0, or you just make this community with your friends to bring some people that.
You can do that. If you have people that you already know in the area, that can help. This is one of the things another training that I do have about is leveraging relationships you already have. So if you have existing relationships with local businesses or people that live in the community, you could invite them to get it started, but it's just gonna take that initial hurdle of getting over it. And once
How
you're
many
going.
people do you have in your community?
And this one now, we don't do one in our area. The one that I was part of, we were running was, it was like 1,500 people.
1,500.
Just to co-answer that question, so when I started my own Facebook group, it was for realtors. But the first thing I did, I went with the Fiverr, which is basically paying overseas contractors to do the thing. I asked somebody on Fiverr, I paid somebody $50 to give me 100 social media templates for realtors. I posted on my Facebook page, profile, and Instagram saying, hey, I've got these things. If you want, just comment the word Canva and I'll add you to the group. And I got 60 people, which is 60 people for the end group is not a lot, but it's enough to give it a kickstart. And then everybody that joined afterwards got those same Canva templates as well. So once you have your first piece of value, the first piece of value, I think, should be the most irresistible thing that you can offer. Because if I went to 100 people and I said, do you want this free thing? If it's good enough, I'll be able to get 60 people to say yes to that. So the better that thing is, the more people you'll get at the beginning.
And that's why knowing your plan for the year, you can then position and explain to people what they're gonna get and why it's beneficial to them. The other thing I will say also is, once you start this, you don't wanna take your foot off the gas on this. So you don't wanna do it for a month, leave it for 3 months, come back for a month. Facebook will ding you because they know they want active, consistent engagement. So you just gotta make sure you're there. What I would look for is if you can get people who are very social and connecting and incentivize them to join. You could have a referral thing. That could be one of your contests. Say, hey, invite people to the group. For anyone who invites people, we're entering into a $50 contest and get them to invite people. And then potentially grow it to having other people support and be part of it with like as a moderator or engaging and having them share content. Having those businesses can help if they're involved. They can be commenting and posting stuff as well. So.
So I haven't made a Facebook group, so what if the people that join, is there a way where you can restrict other people posting? Like, I don't want spam posts in my group.
Yeah, so one of the things you can do is, which I don't suggest, because then people don't like it, is you can just say, you have to approve every post. It's a pain in the ass to do that. And it just, then people go like, I don't want to post this, I gotta sit and wait. So what you do is set very clear rules and very clear guidelines of what's expected and what's not expected. And that's part of when they join, you agree to, yes, I read the rules. And then you just basically hold them to those rules. And it's, the clearer you are with those rules, the easier to say, this is the rule. This is what it says, don't post this, or you can only post these things. Then you just go, you have to decide, do you do a 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike?
So what are some examples of the rules you had in your Facebook group?
Don't be an asshole. I have, it's one of the, no spam, keep it positive, no self-promotion. Yeah.
I'm looking up your.
On this one, I made mine funny, and I used ChatGPT to do it. I just said, here's the kind of guidelines of what I want. Can you make them funny and fun and engaging with rules? And it's just,
Oh,
clear. Yeah, I just made it and it's so they're cheeky and fun, but basically the same premise, no spam, no whatever. And then I just say, if you repeat offenders will be removed. So I just say, hey, and then the nice thing now with Facebook groups, you can literally tag them when if you're nailing them for it, you can literally tell them what rule they violated. It says like what rule, and then it gets a thing saying you broke this rule. So I think people overthink it. The good news is, if you're getting spam, you're getting people and they're engaging. So but if that's all you get, then you need to do something different. So the quicker you can get rid of people spamming. Now, you get people who don't know because they join groups and then they just like post to all, and they're like, post to this, post to that, and they don't read the rules. I just give them a warning, say, hey, listen, I'm gonna remove you if you don't do that. I remove the post. And then some people get kicked off. I'm like, it clearly says no. I'm like, well, it's not my fault. You join the group, the rules, and then you just remove them that way. So it's just takes some time, but once people know what the rules are, and you get a good group of people, then they'll be more likely to participate.
And you mentioned, the community group, Facebook group.
Yeah.
Do you also recommend having your own branding group? I think that would be good because you could promote that in your local group
So
too.
what I would do in the group is the group, and it's brought to you by or powered by, and have your branding on there.
Mhm.
Because the reason, so there's two things that people do in. Excuse myself. There's a difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook group. And the Facebook page is what I call push marketing, pushing your message out there to people. People don't respond to push marketing. Facebook pages are not very effective unless you pay money to get a sponsored ad in front of people, and it's trying to push your message down people's throats. Facebook groups are speaking with your audience, not speaking at. So Facebook pages are speaking at, Facebook groups are speaking with. And if you think about, if you had a house party, and a bunch of people are at your house, this group's gonna be talking over here, having a conversation, this group's gonna be having a conversation. With Facebook groups, you can literally jump in and go, oh, what's happening over here? And you can jump in that conversation. So it's actually real-time conversation. People are commenting, people are sharing, things get bumped to the top. The Facebook post, or Facebook page is you just saying, read this message, and there's no real community or engagement. That's why groups are so powerful, is because it's people actually commenting, sharing, liking, and it has real-time conversation. So you literally get the benefit of listening on people's conversations. You don't have to, you can start them. So sometimes you may need to start the conversation. You can join on, you can engage with them, and it creates a different message. So if you're gonna do your own branding, most time people try to do that. They're just trying to push their message down people's throats. And to me, that doesn't work. So that's why you want to get them with all the other things. That's gonna help them build trust and relationship with you. And then they're gonna know who you are. They get your emails, they get your messages, they connect with you that way, and you promote yourself through it.
Can I piggyback on that example? Cause I like it at the party, at the party, I think it's a great analogy. And if you had the party host go into each group and be like, does anybody need a realtor here? By the way, and be like, that's like, I'm not
Exactly.
really like, let's go out to eat. So,
And it's your party, you kick people out. If these people are misbehaving in your house, this is my rules, it's my house, get out of here. So when you run it, you control it, you have more say in what happens.
Mhm.
And a good party is everyone's having a good time. So a good group is everyone's enjoying themselves, they're there, and they're being part of that. Versus if you stood on stage, that's what Facebook pages is like, me speaking to you guys, talking at you. If I wasn't engaging with you, if I wasn't asking, if you were asking questions, you'd be pretty tuned out if I was just preaching at you. So that's why I'm not a fan of Facebook pages, because it's more trying to feed your message into people. I don't like that.
basically.
Exactly. And it is, unless you're gonna spend a lot of money. And if you're Nike or Budweiser or something, sure, that might be what you want to do, but at this level, it's focused on the relationships.
So the Facebook group, is that made through the Facebook page?
No, it's a separate thing. So there's pages and groups.
I know, but could you make the Facebook group within your Facebook page?
No, it's completely
Oh,
separate.
it's not, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Hopefully you guys learned some things. Hopefully I got you to see it differently. If you have any questions, connect with me online. I'm easy to get hold of in the Facebook group. It's a good way to chat and have questions. So.